Alpaca Direct, and I'm here talking about my Alaska hat. And it is a pattern that we have a link for, and it's by Camille Discoto, or maybe I crucified that. But anyway, here is the hat that I pattern that I used, and it is a paid for pattern. And like I said, we have a link for that one. And here's my finished product, and I totally love it. It's beautiful. I love those trees. Now I want to make mittens that match. Can you see it? It's really pretty. So on the bottom, I used the Sport Weight Dos Tierras from Malabrigo, the black yarn. That's what that is, and it's so soft. And then I used it for the trees, and then I used Stark 6 for the top. So let me show you the technique. In the back, I used this. I didn't weave in this end yet. It needs a little bit better of a blocking. But do you see those ladders? It's called, it's a technique for interlocking, kind of interlocking floats without having it show through on the other side. It's actually, you know what it is? Every one of these ladders is like one stitch of double knitting. And then it has this little strand in between. And it is a totally fun technique, and I'll show you how I marked it on my pattern so I knew when to do the actual, the double stitch, the double knitting stitch. Can you see it? Yeah. So this one down on the bottom was where my regular floats were, and then as the trees got wider and wider and I have a bigger and bigger gap, that's how I solved the gap, is by using that ladder back jacquard technique. And you can see it on this side. I did it all the way around. Some people, when they did theirs, they would start in a different spot and then end. So the ladders would be all over the place. But for me, I found that every 5 stitches, and I started on row number 16 of the pattern. And it turned out great. But this is a super easy thing to do, this ladder back technique. If you haven't seen it before, you should totally try it. It makes interlocking your floats beautiful, and it makes your work. Can you see how pretty it is? Hold it real close, it's so pretty. Can you see it? Yeah, there you go. Like that? Yeah. Can you see that? Yeah. It's beautiful. Anyway, I had really fun, lots of fun doing that ladder back technique. Don't forget, as we're going along, let us know where you're from. Maybe you can let us know what you're working on. If you're working on a beautiful pattern that we need to know the name, don't forget to provide that name for us, because I might be able to knit it, and some of you might be wanting to knit some of the projects. There's some beautiful projects out there that our fellow knitters share, and we love, love, love learning from you guys. Every week we have a prize. So for this last week, it was for the Ultra Alpaca Eco. And this is very much like our Ultra Alpaca, but it is not dyed. It has no chemicals used to make the colors. So it's totally gorgeous yarn. I love it. And this was the prize for last week. Now for this week, you guys need to help me choose what color we're going to do. I found 2 colors in the Zobber Ball Crazy that I thought would be nice for this Alaska hat. And one of them was Domino, which is black and white. And this other one, is Indigo. And it is, so Indigo or Domino. And you guys help me choose. And then next week, we can send this out to the lucky winner. So you just post comments in comment section. Maybe let us know what you're working on. And then you get entered to win the prize. So Kelley, what do you like about that yarn? What is it? Because you use that a lot. I love this yarn. Well, first of all, it's a plied yarn. It's very versatile. Anytime that you want these long color changes. So say you're doing interlock where you have blocks of color. It'll give you several blocks in the black color before it changes to maybe the speckled, almost like a tweed color in white. And then you'll get several blocks of that. And when it flows from color to color, it flows smoothly. It's a beautiful yarn. And this yarn is called Zobber Ball Crazy, and it's by Chapeau Wool. And let's see if it tells me anything on the inside that I can tell you about. So it has 75% wool and 25% polyamide, and it's good for a sock yarn too. Not only just shawls, but for socks too. It's from Germany, right? Yes, it is from Germany, and it is virgin wool from Patagonia, certified original. It's a good yarn. I've used it lots and lots of times. So and you can see how pretty the colorways are.
The color. So it's domino or indigo, right?
Yes, domino or indigo. So, or black or blue, if that works for you, whatever color works. Just so we can send our next week's prize winner the one that you all like best. That's why we like to get your, and also it helps me because we have a knit club and I'm always looking at colors. I like to choose colors that all of you like. So when I see that, oh, they really like a blue, then I might put more blue in the knit club. Or maybe you like neutral colors or earthy colors or, you know, what have you. Then I try to put those in our knit clips so that you can enjoy those colors there too. I try to use what you like.
They said it's snowing in South Dakota and I think Wyoming.
Oh yes, it's snowing crazy here. We had gotten like 2.5 inches last night and it was just nice fluffy snow coming down when we were in the hot tub today. So pretty. I love the snow, especially when I'm in the warm hot tub. So anyway, for this, some of you watched last week and I had done this pattern. It's called Matching Balaclava. And this was a paid for pattern too. And let's see I forgot what her name is.
Katrin Schubert.
Oh, Katrin Schubert. Yes. She does so much of this brioche patterns. And this was just a little brioche knit. It wasn't brioche pearls. So for those of you who have never tried brioche, it's a great project for that. So I wanted to show you a couple of my finished hoods that I did. I did a little baby one, and this of course is made out of Sueno, and I chose the smallest size and the DK weight. A couple of things that I learned by doing this pattern is that when you're doing it and you're doing the decreases on the top along here, it kind of still is a little bit, see how it's a little bit jiggity jaggedy? That was the SSK side, and this side is the knit two together side. So I'm still working on trying to make that perfect, but it looks pretty good anyway. I'm still happy with the edges on it. And if you look in the front, it's a cute little hood. It's really, really cute. And you see how it flows up over the top? Do you see how it flows up over the top? It's so cute. So it makes sort of like a cowl with a hood, so you can put it on your baby and they can't get it off as easily. It doesn't fall off. And do you see how there is some decreases in here that are really, really cute looking? The lines just flow beautifully with the way that Katrin Schubert has made this pattern. And here's the adult one. Do you see the adult one? This was a yarn that I was testing out, and let me show you. So that's the front of it, and here is the back of it. Isn't it cool? Okay, I'll put it on and show you so you can see it. And this is a brioche knit, no brioche pearls. See? Isn't it cool? And you can put it down like this. But isn't it nice? Look at the back of it. I was thinking that maybe in the front, I would like to cast on for the smaller size and then increase and make it more like a V. So this laid down flatter. But I still like it. I want to make them for everyone because I think it would be great if you're out in the cold or if you're skiing or something like that, and you could have a hood like this. And you can't really appreciate how thick and cozy it is until you feel it. But if you've ever felt brioche, it's pretty snazzy. And what was really cool in here, this section right across here, do you see how it sucks in? It's regular ribbing. So she stuck some regular knit one, purl one ribbing and sucked it in. Oh, and she also decreased some stitches on there at that point to make it suck in a little bit, but so not too many.
Questions about what the name of the pattern is?
It's called Matching Balaclava right here, see? And it's by Katrin Schubert, and it's a paid-for pattern. I've made quite a few of these hood type things, and I really like this one. So if you haven't done brioche before, it's sort of like eating potato chips. It's kind of addictive So you should try it if you haven't tried it before and you like these hoods. Maybe your hubbies would like to have one, or maybe the kids would like one. Maybe you want it for your kids so they don't lose their hats because they can't get it off their head or something like, I don't know. It was fun. I have another, I just cast on for another one last night. So see, here's the baby one. I just used DK weight yarn and I cast on for the smallest adult size, and I got a nice size for a baby.
What did yarn
0
you
to
use
3
for the
months.
weight one?
This was Sueno DK. It's really nice. I love it. It's so soft and machine washable. So if you like that sort of thing, you should try that pattern out. So I was thinking, let me see my little, so back to the Alaska hat. So here we are with the Alaska hat, right? And these floats, if you see your trees up in the top here, this didn't get blocked very well, but you see the floats are really wide. You'll have a bunch of solid color and then a treetop. So I wanted to talk about interlocking floats. And I thought maybe instead of just doing interlocking floats or in the round, I would talk about interlocking floats when you're doing a flat project. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to show you this little piece that I was working on, a little sample. And then I wanted to talk about a couple of things that you can keep in mind when you're interlocking floats. So when you're interlocking floats, say I have this piece in the back here, always make sure you have your floats nice and loose. You want your floats to be really happy and not pulled super tight. So always keep them loose. And then if you have to interlock, don't stack interlocks on top of each other. Alternate where you put it. So if you put it on the 3rd stitch one time, the 5th stitch the next time, and then your piece will look better. So if I got this one just off the internet. It was a free pattern, and it was a little picture of a penguin. And when you're interlocking floats and you're doing it flat, you could, there's intarsia or Fair Isle. Intarsia is when you have like a solid, say you have a square that is, this is a blue square, for instance, right? And you have red on either side of it, right? That is intarsia. It's one block of one thing right in the center. So where you would you would use one ball of yarn for this red, one ball of yarn for the blue, and then one ball of red for that side. So you would need 2 balls, one for each side in the red and one in the blue. And where you need to interlock it is where you change from the red to the blue or the blue to the red. And you'll just interlock these stitches right here on this little part, right here on every row that you're knitting. Otherwise, you'll have 3 separate pieces of fabric that you're working with, one in red, one in blue, and one in red. And we don't want that, right?
Okay.
So,
So Celeste has asked you to say hi to our 7-year-old because he likes penguins.
Oh,
His-
hi.
his
Good
name is
morning,
Lucas.
Celeste. Oh, good morning, Lucas. It's so nice to have you share with us today. I hope you're learning something, and I hope that you can learn to knit. Maybe your mommy can help you learn to knit, because it's a great skill to learn, and you can make lots of wonderful things.
You can make penguins.
Yes, and maybe you could make a penguin hat. My son Brandon loves penguins because of Linux. He works on computers and he loves the open source Linux, and the logo for Linux is a penguin. So it's totally cool. So it's nice to have you on with us, and I hope you learned a little something today, or I hope that you can learn to knit. That would be awesome. Totally awesome. So here we are. I made this little sample, and you can see my feet starting to show here on my penguin. And I am just working my way up. And again, let's look on the back. There it is right there. So the things that we have to worry about when we are working on our projects, I'm looking right here, row number 7. So I'm doing this flat. So when I'm knitting flat here, I use this as row number 1. I'll be knitting across this way. And then when I come back on row number 2, I'm going to be purling. because it's flat. If I was just knitting in the round, I could just do all knit stitches and go row 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 like that. But because I'm doing it flat, I have to go back and forth and interlock like that. So let's take a look at row number 7. So I have knit a few stitches to where I'm going to be working. Sorry, Jim, my yarn is a little bit, let me just move these over here. Maybe it would be easier.
Okay. Move it this way a little bit.
Move it toward you like that.
Up that way. Your needle.
Oh yeah, no problem. I will. I'm just organizing my yarn and then I'll get it right there for you. Okay. So then I'm ready to do a gray stitch, but you see right here, I had interlocked that one right there. And if I did a gray stitch right now, that wouldn't turn out so well. So let me just back up here, because when I'm doing my penguin, I need this gray yarn to be coming from over here so that when I work with it, these stitches are interlocked so they don't create a hole. So I'm just going to back up one stitch. And then you see down here it was interlocked. But if I look right in here and I use this old, new, old technique, it interlocks it right onto there. And then I can take I'm looking for my gray here. And nope, it did not interlock it. Let's see, let's go back again. So what I'm trying to do, my goal is I want this gray yarn. Maybe I can go back one more stitch and see if I can get it interlocked. I want that gray yarn coming from this right-hand side so that I can so when I put my gray up and over, and then I'm going to go ahead and bring it through. Aha, now it caught it. Okay, so I've caught that stitch. So then I can knit one more in the red, and you see how it interlocked really nicely on there. Sometimes you just have to play with it so you can see what is going to make it interlock. And then I'm going to go ahead and knit exactly what was from the row below, because that's what the pattern tells me to do. And then on these ones, I don't have to interlock anything because it's not 1 inch or 5 stitches long. So I don't really have to interlock anything. I'm just keeping my yarns in their perspective spots. But then when I get to this red part right here, oops, no. Let's see. We had the gray, yep, and then we're going to have red all the way to the end. So what I can do, see up here, it's going to be 2 stitches up. It's going to be that black one. So I'm going to kind of prep it. Let's take this. I only needed 3 gray. I'm going to kind of prep it so that when I get over to that other row, it will be in a good spot for me to be able to work with it. I'm going to bring it 3 stitches over. So I'm going to bring that up, wrap my working yarn around that needle, and bring it back. Now I've caught it. So it'll be in anticipation for the next row that I'm doing. And so you're kind of using a little bit of the techniques that you would use in Tarja. And but you're actually knitting kind of a combination of Intarsia and Fair Isle. Yep. And I don't need to carry this yarn all the way over to the edge because I'm not making anything on the edge. But if I were making penguins in a row, then I would do that. 1 second here. This one was a purl one and knit one below, but oops, move my yarn. I did a knit one below on the edge, and I just flip up that stitch below and put it on the needle and then do like a knit 2 together. And it makes it easier. That's a little bit, this right here is a little bit of fisherman's rib that I was playing with. Just in case you're wondering. Okay, so that one, oops, that one is a purl one, and then I do a knit one below, just to keep my fisherman's rib on the edge. So then, let's see, this was my stitch marker that's kind of marking the 21 stitches from here to here. Now I'm going to be going up to this one. Now I'm on a wrong-sided row, so I'm going to do 4 purl stitches in the red, and then I'm going to drop this one and do a purl stitch in the gray, and drop this one to the back, and 1, 2, 3, and then we got, okay, did I just mess something up? Okay, so I have this gray part, this, oh, that's my red. I got it. So I did something off here. I should have marked, okay, so word of the wise. Do your key so that you have right next to it what the white means, what the gray means. On mine, I was doing all red through here, and the gray is actually the black. So we had, let's go back to this. I had 4 in the red, and then 1 in the gray, and then 1 in the gray, 4 in the red, 1 in the gray, 1 in the red, and then we'll do the gray. 1, 2, and 3. And then we drop that, and red. 1, 2, 3, and drop that. And you see how the yarns get tangled. So you have to, after you've done a little bit, then stop and untangle your yarns so that they don't make a mess.
They said Post-it notes are helpful too.
I love Post-it notes. And usually I write the color numbers down below. It's totally fantastic. That is a good thing to do. 1, 2. Actually, I think I have this flubbed up somehow. Okay, so I have a gray, and then a red, and then 3 grays, and then 3 reds, and then 3 grays, and then 1 red, and 1 gray, and then a red. Ta-da! Red all the way to the end. And now right here, because I'm going to be over here, and I need to be a couple stitches on the other side of this one, I will go ahead and do a, so when I purl, I'll have a, let me do one more. Bring that over. And then you got to go up. New. What I'm trying to do is get it to interlock. Let me see. Sometimes on the purl side, it's a little bit confusing. So we have the old, new, and nope, it never interlocked. 1 second, my dear. Okay, let's try and do this. We have old, new, and old. Oh yeah, now it interlocked. Shoo! Sometimes you have to play with it for a little while, but you can see that it interlocked and you can't see it on the front. So sometimes I just have to play with it until I get it right. But as you can see, it is interlocked and it's in position.
And that's why they said interlocking floats on flatwork's tricky, right? It's
tricky, yeah. But just messing around with it sometimes works really, really well. And then you can figure it out. Because you can see, if it didn't interlock, it's obvious it never interlocked. Because you can just pull it apart and it's not connected to the stitch. So just using that technique that I use. So this is where I'm going to knit 1 stitch below, but it's on the very edge. So I grab that loop and then I just do a knit 2 together. And it keeps my fisherman's rib on the edge really nice. So let's take a look at this front here. So here we are. We're working on our penguin, making sure that we keep those floats nice and loose, and then to interlock them on the back. And so that's how you interlock the floats on the edges so that you don't get holes. You do not want holes on the edge of your work when you're doing color work. You don't want these edges to be not connected to each other and to be holy. So you can see that these are connected and they look good. So that is how you do interlock floats when you're knitting, doing a combination of Fair Isle and Intarsia, which is not easy. It takes a little bit of practice and messing around. You can see when I was doing it, I had to try a couple of times to get it right. But it is totally worth practicing. It's so much fun when you get it right and you're like, my work is connected and I have no holes between the colors. Or you could possibly do the ladder back jacquard as I did in this hat. And do you see those ladders? They add for a whole extra level of warmth to your hat. Do you see? It's hard to see in black, but this ladder back jacquard is totally cool. And then you have a beautiful hat where your trees are just as vibrant as can be. And you have this lovely warm hat that's almost like a work of art, don't you think, Chip?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's totally cool. So I want to make another one of these. I have more yarn that I can use, and I'm going to make more of these hats because you know what? It wasn't that hard, and it's a good project, a skill for me to practice.
One of the ladies said she's made 3 of them for her daughters, or she's making 3 of them for her daughters.
Oh, she is for Christmas time?
Yeah, I think she's in Alaska, but it scrolls, so I don't see
Oh, that's awesome. Congratulations. That's wonderful that you were able to make them with your daughter, for your daughters. Hey, if you used any special yarns, can you post it in the comment section for us so that we get to learn from you? Maybe you used yarn combinations or something that are totally fantastic. We would love to see it. So anyway, so if you guys haven't tried ladderback jacquard, or if you haven't tried color work where you're mixing both intarsia and Fair Isle and doing those interlocking of floats on the back on the flat work, it is possible. It may take a little bit of work and you may have to look at your work and go, didn't quite work. Try it again. Try it again. And you can learn these new skills. So let's take a look and see who won the prize for this week. Let's see. Oh my goodness, I know it's here. Aha. Oh, Carla Leach. You won. Yay. You have some Eco Alpaca. And this yarn would make a fantastic hat or mittens or gloves or anything like that. This Ultra Alpaca Eco is so soft. It's even more soft than the regular Ultra Alpaca by Baracco, which is a 50-50 blend of alpaca and wool. And it is a sturdy workhorse yarn that is totally fantastic. So Carla Leach, all you have to do is contact us and give us your shipping address and we can get this out in the mail to you.
So customer service.
Yay, customer service at Alpaca Direct is where you go to give us your address. And this next week, I believe that I'm going to be working on, I may be doing a cabled hat pattern just because cabled hats make great Christmas gifts. And then I think I'll release that for the Friday pattern so that you can make hats for Christmas that are cabled if you would like. And I hope that you guys have a great week and I will talk to you next Tuesday.